Hey, Bill here with 30-Minute Wood Shop. Thanks for joining. Today, I'm going to show you how to make one of these. This is a pigtail, barbecue pigtail. And all it is a piece of steel with a sharp point on a curve. Really easy to use, and they're super great for barbecuing. All you do is reach in, twist it into the meat, pick it up. Very simple. These things are so much easier than tongs and so much easier than spatulas that once you get one, once you make one, you start using it, you'll never go back. So, let's go into the shop and build one. So let's talk materials and tools. First thing is, you need to buy one of these pigtail kits. You can get these from Woodcrafter. I think they're about $9.99, 10 bucks for the short one, which is 12 inches, and then the 16-inch one is like 12 or 14 bucks. Buy one of these. The kit comes pretty much with a piece of steel. It's got a great little curve to it with a very pointy end, and it comes with a threaded insert. Now the great thing about this is you can buy these threaded inserts at any of the big box stores or hardware stores. So you can make 3 or 4 different handles and change handles whenever you feel like it. So next thing we want to do here is I got a handle. So I picked out 3 materials I could possibly use. I have this piece of Purdue, which has a really nice zebra stripe graining in it. I think it'd make a great looking handle. I have this piece of cherry, it's American cherry, which is harvested from one of the local Boy Scout camps that I've been attending. And I think that would make a nice handle. And I also have this piece of ironwood. This is our buddy's 80-acre hunting property up north. And if you're not familiar with ironwood, here in Michigan, it's hop hornbeam. I have to decide between all 3 of these, and actually I think I'm going to go with the hop hornbeam or the ironwood here because I kind of like it. It is kind of a pain. It's a very pale wood. There's not a lot of character to this particular piece. Sometimes there is. We'll see when we start turning it into it. Maybe we'll get some grain structure, especially with some of these little branches that I had shaved off here with a bandsaw. So we'll see. So here's a great thing about this whole project. You don't really need to go buy wood. You can go find a branch like this, hit this with nothing more than a file, a couple different kinds of files, and sandpaper. Make a really nice handle out of this. Really easy to do, very, very cheap. All you do is pay for this, go find somebody's firewood pile, pull a branch out, get a handsaw, cut it, and use some hand tools, and you'll make a really nice handle for it. So, I'm going to turn this however, so let's do a couple things. First thing you want to do is, if you have one, you can eyeball the center. And I've already drilled a hole here in the center. But you can eyeball the center, or you can use one of these, which is a center finder. This happens to be one from Rockler. A lot of people make them. All there is in the back side is a 90 degree, with it bisected by another line here. So when you put it over, you can mark, and as you rotate the piece around, it'll mark the center. I recommend you do that 7 or 8 times on a piece like this, because you don't always get a good center on these because they're not always square, centered, round, whatever. And anyway, actually you can see this, even with doing that on this side, I don't know if you can see that, but the center's slightly off. It won't make a difference as far as turning. It will make a difference, however, if you're doing this by hand. It means you got to remove a lot more material on this side. So be careful of that. The other thing is, we have to figure out what size this bushing needs to go into. So, recommend you grab a set of digital electronic calipers. I'm using a set of Mitutoyo's. These things have been around for, I've had these forever. Love these things. Guys, if you don't have a set of electronic calipers, buy them. Don't buy the cheap ones. Get a good set. They are well worth the money. They'll literally last you a lifetime, especially for as much as you use them. If you're in metrology, that may not be the case. So, all I'm doing is measuring what's called the root diameter of this, which is the bottom of the threads. And those are showing up at 0.329, so 0.33. 3/8 of an inch is 0.75. Let's see what the outside diameter is. 0.4185, so 0.42. So that's plenty of interference for these to cut threads into the wood, especially with this hop hornbeam, which is, like I said, really hard. And hopefully hopefully that should work. Yeah, so once I get that cut in with these threads, get it installed, then I'll have that epoxied in, and the epoxy will hold it forever. So 5-minute epoxy on that. So I'll put links down at the bottom for this, which you can find at Woodcrafter, and a set of good calipers. My preference is going to tell you, but you can choose. But you owe yourself, I tell you, owe yourself a good set of tools. And I'll throw in a link to one of these center finders. Not sure if it'll be rocklers or not. So what I've done here, like I said, I've already drilled this hole. It's a 3/8 inch hole, so it should be a nice fit. And let's do it quick. I don't want to put this in too far because getting it back out again is really a pain. But yeah, it looks like it'll go in perfectly once I start screwing it down. The big problem is this is brass. And brass is pretty darn soft. One thing you'll notice in this bushing is there a pair of square cutouts for a screwdriver. I'll say this, if you're going to use those, be very careful, because again, it's brass. You can strip this end really easily, super easy. You do that, basically over drill the hole, stuff it in, put some epoxy around it, it's still good. So easily recover it if you have to. All right, we got this. One more thing I got to do. I got to point this so that my drive spur has a spot to sit. So let me grab another drill, point it for the drive spur, and then we'll head over to the lathe. Okay, I have my piece of ironwood chucked up. I got the drive spur locked in, and up here I have a 60-degree cone live center that fits into the hole. And let's kick this on real quick. By the way, if you're doing this, always step aside and kick it on the first time, just to make sure things don't fly off. And be sure you recheck everything. As usual, safety gear. Be sure you have safety gear on. I'm getting my mask. Okay, mask on. I'm going to try this carbide bit. I've never used one of these before, so this is the first, so don't be shocked if it doesn't work for me. I do a fallback plan, which is my standard roughing gouge. So that's feeling pretty good as far as the handle. Just straightforward, nothing really fancy here. I'm going to do a little bit more work down here. I think I'm going to cut it off though. I'm going to trim it because that's about perfect right there. If we get rid of this last 3/4 inch, should be good. But I'm going to switch because this is leaving a really rough surface. Okay, several tools, it's looking pretty good. I got a couple little divots here because of the way the cross grain went, tear outs. But I'm going to fill that. I have to fill a crack here. So let me grab some CA glue and get that done. Let it sit, and then we'll be ready for sanding. Okay, I don't know if you could hear all the stuff I was saying with the mask on. It may have been muffled, but real quick recap is that I was using a carbide tool. Got most of everything off, like a rough roughing gouge. Left a really rough surface that I went to a skew. Got 99% of that squared away. However, there's a couple spots that were tear out. Pretty common with a grainer lock on a hop horn beam. It's pretty locked up, so sometimes you get tear out. I filled the crack that I had in that with some CA glue. Let that dry. Now I'm ready to go ahead and get that thing sanded down. This feels really nice. Now all you do is lay on some finish and part it off. this off and do some finish up. Ready to go. Looks really nice. I like the coloration. Not a tremendous amount of variation in the grain color, but hey, it's looking pretty good. It's pretty normal for ironwood. You can see right here what that looks like. Same wood, ironwood. This is where a branch came through. So let's get back to the bench. Finish off the end. Drop in the insert. We're good to go. All right, I've managed to pare off the small bit left over from parting, and I sanded this whole end off so it's nice and smooth. Went down to 400 grit just like the rest of it, and then I dropped a little bit of this Thin Flex CA glue on both this end and this end, just to give it, just to seal it up. So other than that, it's looking pretty good. I think I'll throw a coat of wax at it. One thing I did note that getting this bushing into this 3/8 hole in this wood is so hard that I'm going to drill it out to, what is this thing? I think it's 13/30 seconds. See how that works. I want it to be screwed in, but I don't want it so hard that I'm going to destroy the brass. Okay, that's pretty much what I wanted right there. So I'm setting this just below the surface. That's pretty good. Now all I got to do is mix up a little bit of epoxy, put it on the edges. Yep. Might have been a little too big, but the epoxy will make up for that. So we should be good. All right, you don't need much of this epoxy at all. I mean, literally two little drops. And mixing it up on a business card. Again, you don't need much. Make sure you mix it up really well. You don't want soft spots in your epoxy. I'm just going to put a little bit here on the end. This is where screwing it in actually works. I'm taking it down just below the surface. That should be good. So the reason I didn't want to put it in using this is because if there's any spillover epoxy and it happened to get on the threads, it's never coming out. Just to screw it in. And there we go. Perfect. Well, this project is a wrap. I really like the way it turned out. The hop horn beam, though kind of a pain to work with in some cases, even with the splits, got those filled up. I like the creamy color and grain. It's going to be great. I'll give it to a buddy of mine his fish fry today, and no, he's not going to use it for his fish fry. But I will say the hop horn beam is from his 80 we go hunting on, so he'll get a kick out of that, and I'm sure he'll get a lot of use out of this. There's links at the bottom for the parts, so easy to find if you want to go to Woodcraft and get that. And then some of the other tools that I use here, you'll find those. And hey, check those links out. Please, if you got anything out of this, hit like and subscribe. And until next time, hey, good making.